Hi, freaks, and welcome to another episode. My name is Matt, and joining us tonight is the lovely Nathan. How are you, Nathan? Looking
I
like you've
am
seen a
good, thank you.
ghost.
I, what's that ghost? I was just thrown off by the lovely.
And Sue, how are you?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. I'm having one of those days where you just feel like you're running around all day and not really getting on top of things. So, yeah, I feel like I'm still back there somewhere doing stuff.
Well, the week's nearly over. Well, the conventional week. I know you don't have a
Yeah, not
conventional
for
week.
me. Yeah, mine just starts next 3 nights I'm working.
Oh, poor thing. So, do we have our drinks ready and raring to
Cheers.
go? Cheers!
Cheers.
Okay, so let's kick off. So we're in the middle of our Shark Week festival. Um, so last week we reviewed Great White, so you can watch that on our channel if you weren't in the live chat last week. Oh, sorry, last fortnight. And tonight we're watching Open Water. And next fortnight we're watching the classic Jaws. Cool. So it's we were just discussing beforehand. It's kind of a somber day today because there was a pretty horrific shark attack in Sydney, the first one in 60 years.
Oh wow, I
So
didn't
it
realize
was,
that.
yeah, apparently the last one was in 1960. A movie actress was killed in Sydney Harbour.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, this one yeah was all obviously in the times that we live in, caught on camera. So it was, yeah, it's pretty graphic. It feels like it's all a movie, seeing as we've been watching these movies. It's
Hmm.
kind of blurs the lines a bit.
Bit unsettling.
It is a bit unsettling. So should we get into the fictional, well, the latest movie that we're watching?
We get into the movie. Yes.
Yeah.
So, Open Water, it was released on the 6th of August 2004, directed by Chris Kentis. It was made on a budget of $130,000 and made $55.5 million at the box
Wow.
office.
Wow.
Pretty good
That's
return, I'd reckon.
Yeah. Good job. Has he done anything else? Sorry to
No,
interrupt.
he did three things, I think. This was his second film. He did another film before that. And then I'm not sure what his third movie was, but yeah, I didn't know the other two. Yeah. But yeah, this one I think he directed, edited, did the music. I think, I don't know. He seemed to do everything. And
I
the
think
bits
he
that he
wrote it.
didn't do, his wife did. So it was him and his wife.
Right.
Apparently, it took them over almost 2 years to film, and they did
Okay.
it. Sort of, they had conventional jobs and just did it on the weekends. So
Oh,
it
wow.
was quite a kind of passion project for them.
Yeah, I can appreciate that. That's good.
Yeah, that's cool.
I feel like it's something that, yeah, back in the day we would have done.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nathan, had you seen Open Water before?
Yeah, I've only seen it once before. I think it was a few years ago, maybe even on a plane. So small screen, very different experience. I didn't remember a lot about it. I remember that it was based on a true story, which freaked me out a little bit. But I remember liking it.
Mm-hmm. So did you know about the true story?
I did. I saw it at the movies when it first came out, to be honest, down at like the Palace Ballroom, which was good. But the audience, I think, were expecting a slightly different film. So I remember the audience being a bit rowdy in bits where I'm like, be quiet. But yeah, I knew it was a true story. I don't know if I knew it before I saw it, but I know I researched it after the movie.
Mm-hmm. So, as far as I understand, this was based on the true story of a couple that went swimming on the Great Barrier Reef in Australia, who were left behind and never. Well, they were actually. It was discovered 2 days after they were left out there that they had been left. So they were never found, obviously. They did recover the woman's
Diving
wetsuit.
stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they also recovered the diving chalkboard, like something you write on to communicate
Oh,
underwater.
okay.
And they confirmed who they were and that they'd been left, and this is the boat that they were on. And it was like,
Wow.
please send
That,
help. But according to, I think I read it on Wikipedia that it's thought that they wouldn't have been attacked by a shark in real life, that it's like they drowned themselves. So
I guess that's the thing. No survivors were there to say exactly what happened.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that's why movies like this can be based on true story, but no one was actually there, so they don't know exactly what happened.
Yeah. So the premise.
exactly.
Yeah, so it's inspired by, and obviously different setting as well. In fact, whereabouts was this one set? I couldn't quite figure it out.
I don't think they established that, did they?
It was filmed
No.
in the Bahamas, and having been to the Caribbean, it sort of looked like the Bahamas to me, and because
Oh,
they're
Caribbean.
Americans, it is quite close
Okay.
for them.
I
Yeah.
did have that on like Caribbean question mark in terms
Yeah.
of my notes, because I thought maybe because there's obviously a lot of Americans there, and even the
Yeah.
locals had American accents.
Yeah. Yeah, so should we get into the bits that we liked and the bits that we didn't like and the nitty-gritty?
Let's do this.
Okay. Oops, let me just go back to. So, yeah, it was, I don't know, an interesting film in that it was, yeah, kind of very different to what I was expecting in regards to thinking about a horror and thinking about a shark movie. Like you said, Sue, a lot of people probably had that misconception going into this movie. So, should we talk about our third favorite spot?
Sure.
Sure.
So, Sue, did you want to tell us what your third favorite part of the movie was?
Yes. I think probably, the scene where she's in the water and she kind of floats on her back. And she just, when they drift apart from each other without realizing they've drifted apart, but they had that shot of her drifting and underneath you could see all the sharks moving. That freaked me out. I have to admit, I did oh Jesus, like out loud when I saw that. Because I remembered then that they filmed with real sharks, which I totally forgot about until that scene. And then I was like, oh God, she's so brave. I would not be able to do that at all. Like, not at all. And so watching it made me feel a bit, gave me squirmy belly.
Well, actually, it's interesting because in my top 3 bits as well, that just knowing that they use real sharks in scenes like that, and just in general, a lot of the cutaways and things, that was also one of the highlights for me because it just added to the sense of realness of the movie. Yeah. Especially when we'd seen, I guess, the last movie we reviewed, which had really bad CG or really bad practical type effects. For something like this, it just felt super real, and that was a highlight for me.
And it reminds me that we don't need like genetically modified sharks or giant 7-foot. A shark is scary, like regardless.
Yeah. I'm not sure if they said what type of shark these ones are, so it's not great white like in Jaws or some of the other movies, but there's still a lot of them, and they can do damage.
Yes.
Sharp teeth.
Well, that was actually my third best moment, was the real sharks. I think, the fact that they are real just adds to that sense of edge of your seat, like what's going to happen. Yes, it seemed, made it seem very real. And you're right, like they don't need to come along and devour you like in one big gulp, but even when she got bit on the leg, and then he got bitten on the leg, and you're like, oh no, like you're either going to bleed out or it's going to be more sharks in or bigger sharks. So it was like this constant like, oh no, this is not good.
Like picking at them, like not always in an actual violent way, but just being there all the time, all that stress would be horrible.
Exactly. And what added to that is because you didn't actually see the sharks doing that. So most other movies would show the graphic shark bite.
True.
Whereas you're seeing it more from the couple's perspective. So above water, they know something's going on underneath, but they can't quite exactly see what it is. So that adds to the sense of fear.
Yes,
Yeah.
agreed.
And then she said in one point, "Oh, I don't know what's scarier, like, or what's worse, is seeing the sharks or not seeing the sharks." I guess that's what you're sort of saying as well.
And then they had, oh no, we'll bring that up later. Just in case someone picked it, I won't bring it up. Sorry.
And Nathan, what was your third moment?
That would have been one of my favorites.
Yep, cool. And let's go into our second silver medal moment. Nathan, what was your second best moment?
Mine would have been, well, not so much a moment, but just like a general best bit. I really like the production style. So a lot of people might not, like in
I
this
love it.
screen you saw, so might have been expecting more polished Hollywood big budget, but I liked the cheapness and how it felt like it was filmed on a camcorder.
Yep.
So it's not exactly found footage, but it has the same sort of effect in that it makes you feel like you're in the moment and you're watching something that was real. So yeah, I really enjoyed that, and just the atmosphere it would create.
That was my first note about the film, was that I liked that home video quality and that it reminded me of found footage, which is my favorite subgenre anyway, because I like how immediate it feels. So it had that immediate feel.
And also, I mean, as a bit of a side bonus for them, Matt mentioned how profitable the movie was.
Yes.
That would have helped to keep the costs way, way down, but it was also one of the biggest assets of the movie as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's smart filmmaking.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It kind of, I guess, adds a little bit to the realness as well when it seems like it's camcorder-ish. Sue, what was your second moment?
When Daniel got bitten and pulled under, it was a bit of a shock to see him pulled under. I feel like that did make me jump. This stuff is going to happen probably because they're getting closer and closer and more bold in what they're doing. But yeah, that was a bit of a shocker. And the whole, oh shit, he's probably a goner now. Like they've probably done something quite bad to him now. So
yeah, that was kind of the beginning of the end, wasn't it? Like there's really no going back when you're in the middle of the ocean and you're bleeding out. It's either going to be a shark attack again, or you're just going to bleed out.
Yeah, there's not going to be a happy ending for him.
No.
My second moment was when they woke up alone, or when she woke up alone, and then obviously that moment of, oh shit, where's he gone? Because I had seen the film before, but it was quite a long time ago, and I didn't remember when he actually disappeared.
Same.
So I was like, is he gone? Like, is she just by herself for the rest of the film? How awful, like, would it be? Like, seeing as she was the one that was seemed a bit more vulnerable than him. He seemed more like he was a bit more experienced. And so my heart sort of sunk for her. I felt really bad. And
because, like, I mean, that's the only way to make their situation worse, really, is to be separated, because that's the only thing that they have going for them, really, is that they have each other.
Exactly. And I liked how the relationship felt quite real for them. They felt, I mean, they were just talking about general everyday type stuff. They were lovey, and then they just got pissed off with each other as well, just like a couple would. She was mad at him, he was pissed off at her, yet they're all alone. They've only got each other, so they still cling together, wanting to stick with each other. And
it felt like they had history. Like they felt like they were an established couple that had history in short term, like, how you can sort of talk shortly with each other, and it's okay because you're together anyway. And it did feel real.
I think that was a combination of the making of this, and I think it was a combination of the fact that it took such a long time to film, and also they were workshopping quite a lot because it was just mainly the husband and wife, director and writer, so they were able to workshop just the four of them, so it sort of made it a little bit more intimate and real, I guess.
Intimate is a good word for this.
Intimate is a good word. And because it's a couple making it as well, I guess they will be more attuned to how couples work.
Cool. So should we move on to our
what was your second?
First that was the waking up.
Oh yeah, that's right. Sorry,
Pay attention, Sue.
got off on a tangent, and then I was like, oh, did we? What was it? Yeah, cool.
So our number one spot is for Nathan.
For me, would be pretty much almost the ending. So when they're in the water, it's nighttime, there's lightning flashing, the screen keeps cutting to black, but we can hear them, and then we just keep seeing flashes of them from the lightning every now and then, knowing that sharks are circling them, knowing the end is almost here. That to me was just like, I mean, the whole movie was very suspenseful. It was just like being amped up and up and up there, just even more. I felt very much in that moment, and it was really tense. I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah, it was very interesting. I was kind of surprised because it was interesting how they went for the first time back to the shore, and they showed like what people were doing
I really
in real
like
life.
I really like that choice of like, this is what they would be doing if this horrible thing hadn't happened to them, and that you'd be thinking, God, I could be doing that right now.
Yeah, seeing other people from the boat just doing regular everyday things on the island or whatever it was, just like, see shots of the pool, seeing the animals, seeing people in the markets, people dancing at the bar.
Yeah, I loved all that. I thought it was so clever to make you think of that's what they should be doing. That
just made it more impactful, I thought.
Yeah, agreed. And sad.
Sue, what was your number one moment?
When she floated him away from her. I thought the whole, that desolation of accepting that he's gone. I can't even imagine having to reconcile with that and to let him go like that. Like, not just let him go like physically, but in every way. I thought that was really well done and good.
Well, because also we didn't actually.
That was my number one as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Like I'm the same as you. Like I just feel like I always put myself in my relationship in these type of things, and like to think about doing that, like I don't think I could. Like I think I would just be holding on for as long as I could. So to obviously be smart and to do that, like I guess showed her desperation at that point. Like I think it was a very, very powerful moment, and even thinking about it now makes me kind of feel emotional about it.
Yeah, same. Yeah, it did make me quite sad.
Yeah, but also in that moment we didn't see him pass away. For a moment in the beginning of that scene where she's holding him, I'm thinking, is he just passed out and she's looking after him, or is he dead? So there's a little bit of that, but then realizing as she like gradually lets him go, it's like, nah, he's gone.
But it's like what you said with the not showing the attacks, and that the other filmmakers would have. I feel like lesser filmmakers would have given him some big death scene and stuff, or a graphic attack or something. Whereas this is a lot more real, and so it affected us a lot more.
And Matt, at the beginning you mentioned it's like not something you'd think of as a horror movie, and I guess it's not in the sense that it doesn't show those graphic bits, but it's horrific. This had way more impact on me than a lot of slasher movies.
To me, a horror movie is a movie that wants to scare you. However it goes about it, a horror movie for me is defined by doesn't want to scare you, and this film does want to scare you. So
exactly.
As far as I'm concerned.
Yeah,
but
there's actually no actual on-screen kills in this movie. Like it's just implied.
I noted that too.
So it's kind of like strange to think of it as a horror movie, but you're right. Like it is something that did make me think. So yeah, that was good. Cool. Was there any other moments that you wanted to shout out before we move on to our?
I like those water scenes. Sorry, when there was scuba diving or whatever, I liked all of those scenes of them playing with the eels, and just a moment of lightness before things get really, really sad and depressing. But yeah, I liked that they included that because you could see them having fun and stuff.
Yeah, well, I guess that's a bit like what we spoke about at the end. We'd see everyone else and where they should be. So I had the light and the dark and the contrast to really emphasize that drama, the loss.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's move on to if it was up to us and the WTF moments. Let's go on to our number 3 moment. Sue, what is your number 3 WTF moment?
My problem is I can only think of 2. So,
Okay.
but I will probably agree with one of your choices, I suspect. But yes, okay. I guess the thing that kind of annoyed me, mildly annoying, the sort of sex scene at the beginning. She was fully naked and he was not. That was the only.
He was naked. You just didn't see anything. You saw a little bit of side butt.
You saw pretty much all of
Side
her.
pubes or something.
Yeah, you saw a lot more of her, and that was
Yeah.
a little bit uneven.
I did note that, and I had in my notes, it's like, all right, is this realism or is it gratuitous?
Yeah, it was on the
Yes.
edge for me. It was
Well, for a movie, maybe it's gratuitous, but if you were in that couple staying in a hotel room and you're on a holiday, you would just lie around like that.
of course, but so
So
would
there's
he.
realism.
Not the nudity I have a problem. It's the unevenness.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I have no issue with nudity. I just want it to be even. That's all.
Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
I mean, this is my WTF moment as well, the gratuitous nudity. I think going into this movie, I had certain memories of the movie and what I thought about it originally, and the sort of cheap camera quality, and then this gratuitous nudity, and I'm like, what the hell is this movie going to be like? This is going to be
a little bit
chore
jarring.
to watch.
Yeah.
I'm like, so I just feel like it really portrays what the actual film is. Betrays, not portrays.
Betrays, I agree with you.
It's like, this isn't what the film's about. Like, why do they need to include this like muff shot? Like, it's not right.
Yep, I agree.
Okay, so, interesting that we all noticed that and questioned it.
Yeah,
that shows that maybe it was a little bit out of place.
Because that was like in the movie when I saw it at the cinema. That was the same that all these freaking young guys that were there for like a TNA fest were like, woohoo, cheers, blah blah blah, and I'm like, oh, like come on, you know. Jesus
and I wonder
Christ.
if because it's such a low budget film, they know that audience is going to be expecting it from this type of movie, and it's sort of to hook them in.
Be a lot worse.
No, I hope that the choice behind making it was just to add a sense of realism and intimacy, and it was just even like what Sue said.
Yeah.
Yeah, show us some dick if you're going to show us some pussy.
Pretty much. Fair enough. Yeah. Both or nothing.
Nathan, what was your third WTF moment?
Okay. Oh, checking my list. The annoying man on the boat to begin with. I mean, none of my bad moments. They're just ones that were just a little bit annoying. Like that guy in particular who left his mask behind and then wanted to borrow someone else's, and that just, I think what that annoyed me the most is because there are people like that. And it just added a sense of realism. I can imagine being on that boat, stuck with someone like that, and just thinking how annoying they are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I agree with you. He was an essential character. Like, he's the reason why this whole thing happened, basically. But, yeah, he was freaking annoying. But I guess
I did find it interesting that they didn't have a spare mask on a dive trip. Like, wouldn't they, at least one of the crew, have one just for them to use? Like,
I think they should have included like a shot of someone saying they didn't have one, but really they just didn't want to give it to him.
Yeah.
Their little spare one away or something, because then you'd be like, right, that takes care of that little niggling question.
Yeah. Fair point.
Cool. Let's go on to our second WTF moments. I guess I'll start. So for me, some of the editing choices did seem a little amateur. At one point, it looked like he had run out of footage, and there was a lot of. It looked like stock footage of water, like going up, and it was like water, and then water going this way, and water going this way. I'm like, what the hell? Like you had to pad the movie out with this.
You can go to the toilet.
I did notice that, but I didn't hate that. I thought that was just more of an artistic choice, like sort of.
Well, I thought it was okay, like going like this, the water like this, but it just got ridiculous when it was going the other way. I'm like, are we going to see like fountains and then like waterfalls?
Yeah,
toilets flushing.
Did tie in with later in the movie though, when they were when the sun was setting and they were doing shots of the water again, but it was red from the sunset, and obviously suggesting the blood that's to come, that sort of thing as well. So Yeah, I didn't mind that bit. Yeah, it was
And
a
there was
little bit
also
amateurish.
another bit of the editing that annoyed me. Probably not as much, but I thought, what the hell, is when they all start going into the water, and he shows almost each individual person like jump cut, like jumping into the water,
Yeah, I did
jump,
notice
jump, jump,
that.
jump. I'm like, yeah, we get it. They're jumping into the water. Like, do we need to see all 20 people jumping into the water so we
Yeah,
can
but
do the
to me
headcount
that made
ourselves?
it made it feel more like a home movie that just hadn't been edited well. It made it feel more
Yeah.
real.
I can I
Mm.
can see both sides of that. I feel like it added to that sort of slow burn feel
Mm.
of things. But I also agree with you that I was like, how long are we gonna like, I got the point after the first 4. I don't think you need to show 10. But
Yeah.
I can see both. It didn't bother me that much, but I did notice it.
Yeah, actually, that was my second top worst moment. Basically, all the scene setting on the boat. I thought it was important from a character development perspective and scene setting, but yeah, it did take a little bit long. But it's a small gripe because on the flip side, like I said, it adds to the sense of reality there as well.
Yeah.
The scene setting was like, okay, so we hear about her with her phone, then like
Hmm.
it takes like 20 hours for her to get into the car, then like they get to the place, and then it's like more like drawn out shots. I'm like, oh my god, this film. Like, is anything gonna happen? I'm like, there are other
I was
Yeah.
films with this sort of
fine with all.
quality that I'd much rather be watching. And they're
Interesting.
Okay.
called porn.
Fine with all of that, but I wish they'd done more setting, as in, like, obviously none of us know exactly where they were. That kind of thing. Like, if they're going to do establishing things, it would be nice to get a few more
Yeah.
as well in there.
And like you said, Sue, the whole thing is about the dive. And I like obviously there was a reason that they were the last on the boat. Like, show us more of that. Like, show us
Hmm.
why they took so long to come back. Like, they
Yeah.
showed us the eel and everything, but I probably would have concentrated more on that than people diving in one by one to the water.
Yeah, but at the same time, there was an element of suspense as the guy in the boat is like counting
Yeah,
numbers of
that's
getting
true.
out and that sort of thing. Cut to them just like blissfully like ignoring that and just like swimming along. So that in itself is just building suspense just from the regular everyday type stuff they do.
I
Yeah, I
didn't
would
mind
agree.
when they're coming on and he's counting down. It's just when they're going in. Like, I expected like the count from
Okay.
Sesame Street to be there, like counting each individual diving.
One, two, three shark foods.
Should we go on to our best moment or best WTF moments?
Oh.
Sue, what was your number one WTF?
I did not like showing that dark dead shark at the end. I
Oh,
understand
yes.
that was graphic, and it actually made me
Mm.
feel a bit sick, and I
I
didn't
had to
like
turn it
watching the
off.
film. I found that really hard to watch. Yeah, I didn't like that.
Yeah, because that was obviously real. It was
Yeah.
dead, I hope, because like cutting off the fins and cutting it up and that sort of
I would
thing.
assume
But
he was dead, but they did have a shot where he looked like he was making a mouth movement, and I think that was just the way that they filmed it to
yeah,
get that impression, but I don't it was too close to I didn't like it.
yeah, that
Yeah,
was
I
uncomfortable.
totally agree. That was, I had to, like I said, turn it off. It was like, okay, so we get it. Like, the shark killed someone, but you don't need to take revenge by showing someone else chopping up another
Right?
shark.
Isn't it funny though? Because one of our top bits was the reality and seeing the real sharks and the real fish. But then when we see a real one getting cut up, not too much.
Because I want horror films to feel real enough to scare me, but I don't want to see anyone actually killed.
Yeah.
Anyone. Not a shark, not a person, not a dog. I don't want to see anyone actually die on film. I don't think it's right.
Yeah, I did find that scene.
I would remind you
difficult.
about this the beginning of this recording, but anyway. So
Yeah, I understand.
Nathan, what was your
On a fictional
one
film,
WTF?
I do not want to see.
Yes. Okay. My top, I guess, worst bit, which is not really comment on it being a poor choice in the movie, but it just made me feel uncomfortable, was the couple arguing in the water. How real it felt. being in that sort of situation, it was quite triggering for me. And that it felt just so real, like knowing that they still love each other and they need each other, but they're pissed off and they're like just really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So while it's technically a good bit, it just made me feel really uncomfortable.
Yeah, because you're angry and upset and frustrated, and you've got to blame someone, and well, there's only one other person here, so
Yeah.
that's how it's going to happen.
Yeah, and people start saying,
anyway.
yeah,
Yeah, but yeah, I agree. It felt very real, and it did make you feel a bit like, stop.
yeah, very confronting. Yeah, it's like I've been in moments like that, not
Yes.
in exactly lost out at
Yes,
sea
and
like
it's horrible,
that.
that yucky feeling. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like those sort of fights.
My number one WTF moment was probably something that you guys don't agree with, which is the quality of the production. I
Interesting.
didn't like that it looked like it was done on someone's camcorder. It did feel very cheap and like a porno. So it's sort of, and yeah, I guess towards the end of the film, they won me over with the storyline. But at the beginning of the film, especially, I was like, I really don't want to watch this movie. It really put me off. And I could forgive it if it was a found footage film, because it has a reason to be that cheap. But I thought for this, like, it seems like it's so renowned. It's got like a nice poster. It like sort of leads you in that this is going to be a different type of film. And then you get this, something that we could have made in film school. We probably would have done a better job. So I found like, the editing, the camera work, some of the bits on the boat seemed a bit hokey and stilted. So yeah, that's my WTF moment.
Okay. See, I agree with all those things. And that at the beginning, it did feel very cheap. But once I got into it, all those things that you didn't like, I saw as being the film's strengths.
Yeah, same. Like a stylistic choice that worked.
Yeah, which
But
helped me to get in the moment.
For everybody. Yeah, I expected at least one of you to not like that, to be honest, because I was like,
and you knew it would be me.
I'm like, this is not pretty enough. Like, it's not
pretty enough for Matt.
Well, I did think, at least one of you would not like that about it, and I would get that. I do get it, but it works for me.
Yeah, me too. And to me, it's what makes the film more unique and standalone than anything else. Because even like last week, we're talking about, or last fortnight, we're talking about movies, and it's like, right, shark movies. There's only so many different things you can do with them.
Yes.
But this is a story that hadn't really been done before and was quite original and was done in an original way. And I thought it was, I really like that.
Cool. Should we go into our individual reviews now?
Sure.
Don't do me.
Okay, Nathan.
I'll go first. Look, for the whole movie, yes, it did take a little while getting where it was going, but I didn't mind that. That just helped me feel like I was getting on board with those characters. Overall, though, it was very suspenseful. I had a lot of anxiety induced during it as well. I was very tense because it felt so real. In terms of movies, I don't like watching reality, like true crime type stories, things, because they feel too real for me. This felt like that. It avoided cliche and it felt very original. I thought it was really, really good. A big fat Pash.
A Pash. Interesting. Sue, what do you reckon?
Well, this film probably scares me and makes me more anxious than any other shark movie, to be honest. And I think because it feels so real, because they're real sharks, because that actually happened to someone. We're unsure about the shark attack, but the situation happened to someone's, and it could easily happen to me or you, or it's a mistake. These things can happen.
Yeah.
So the film quality worked for me. I can see that it wouldn't work for everyone, but as a massive found footage fan anyway, I was already on board to like it. But I did feel like it lent itself to this film in particular. So yeah, Pash, big Pash, loved it.
Nice.
And what about you, Matt?
Okay. Well, for me, I went in like with a preconceived idea. I've only seen this movie once, and I remember the first time I watched it, which is probably when it came out. I did think that it was very long, and then so when I started watching the film, I thought it was going to be a huge chore, and then I started seeing the film quality, the gratuitous nudity, the bad editing, and just how long it took to start getting into the film. But then the film started to hit home. I think the story really got going sort of second once they were stranded, and I think the actors really came into their own at that point as well. Yeah, so I think the real sharks, everything that we've covered in what was great about the movie, sort of overrode all of those preconceived ideas that I had, and I then forgave the bad quality of the film and the editing to a point. I don't think I'm on the same page as this is it's one of its strengths. I think I would have preferred it if it was done with a decent camera and a decent editor. But I still think the story behind it and the acting that was in it really makes this film worth a watch. Stick with it and to the end. And yeah, definitely a pass for me.
Yay! 3 Pashes.
After three tries.
Pashes.
Yeah, I was wondering where you were going to go with this for a little bit, Matt. But
Yeah,
no.
same.
I do like to keep you guessing.
You do. And actually, interesting as well that you mentioned the runtime because you said that it felt long, but really it's not. It's only 80 minutes.
80 minutes, yeah.
And
Isn't
I
that-
thought,
I love about it.
yeah, it was perfect length for this story. It didn't
Yeah.
drag it on. It just did what it needed to do and then end.
Yeah, agreed. I'm so over films that are like 4 hours long that have a teeny tiny story that they just stretch forever. Like, come on, man. I've got a life.
Exactly.
And I don't
sometimes padding
feel that it
just
was long
takes
now.
away
I
from
just
it.
feel that it was. When I remember back, I felt
Sure.
that it was long on the first watch.
And
Yeah, I
things
do
can
agree.
feel
That
long even if they're not long anyway. Like, I totally would.
the
accept
beginning
Yeah.
did feel long, and to be honest, I was looking at the little track thing along the bottom of the screen, saying, "How long is this movie? Oh, good, it's not too long," because I don't think I can sit through it. Maybe I'll just
understand.
watch the trailer and pretend that I watched it. Not that I've ever done that, but I thought this could be the first time.
God, no, if we can sit through Great White, like, really.
Yeah. I was thinking, oh no, it's not another terrible shark movie. There's so many good shark movies. We've chosen all the worst ones.
No, this one's definitely a good one.
Do
And
yourself a favour and
Overwatch
watch
2
it.
was good too, if I remember correctly.
Sorry, what was that, Sue?
Go with that.
Open Water 2 is also good.
I didn't know there was a sequel.
Yeah,
There's 3.
it's obviously a whole different storyline. I haven't seen 3. I haven't seen part 3, but I've
Caged
seen part
something.
2.
Yeah, I've seen Drift, isn't it? The second one, where he
Yeah.
gets knocked off the boat.
Where they
Sure.
all end up off the boat when then the ladder's gone, so they can't get back
Yeah.
on. It's pretty good. It's
Okay.
intense.
I'm curious about those now. I'd normally
I think we watched that
assume
together
because this
soon.
one was so good. A bit
Yeah, I
like
think so.
Blair Witch type sequels where they just like get pretty shit pretty
I know they-
fast.
Yeah,
But no, I'll give that a go.
yeah, I do remember that was very tense viewing as well.
And I think the production values were better in that one.
I think so. It was more of your conventional look.
Probably got a
It
bit of
wasn't the
budget
same
after
director
making so
either.
much
Like,
money.
it wasn't the same production people.
Yeah, no, I think they just sort of coasted on the Open Water name
Yeah.
because there's not anything
Being
to do
stuck in
with
the
it.
water. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, kudos to the makers for making it, the passion project, 2 years,
I
making
know.
lots of money and starting a brand.
Yeah, that could have been
Exactly.
us. God damn it.
Damn.
Would we really put 2 years into something or would we
hell
lose
no.
patience and wrap it up pretty quick?
I would. I put years into studying Russian. I can do it, I tell you.
Well, you do
stubborn
it,
as
Sue.
well.
We look forward to seeing the results. How's
One
that
day.
script going?
I wrote a novel. All right, I was
Oh,
busy.
that was the novel. Yeah, that took years.
31
You
years.
stuck with that.
31 years, and I stuck with it. Yeah, I would do it.
There you go. So watch this space. And to do that, you should like, subscribe, and follow us. So you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We go live every other Thursday, so make sure you follow along. Next fortnight, like I said, we're going to be watching the all-important original blockbuster Jaws. So make sure you follow along and watch that with us. Until then, Thank you so much, Nathan and Sue, for joining me.
Thank
you.
See you next time. Have a great night. Bye, guys.
Bye.